Hi, I'm Nathan. I go by Peteparker, and every week I do comic book reviews because that's the rule around my house. If I want to keep buying the comic books, then I have to review them online. So this review is going to be for FF number 5, commonly known as, previously known as the Fantastic Four, now known as the Future Foundation. Why is that so hard to remember? You would think 5 issues into this, where they are a totally different team and it's so big and so different, that Future Foundation would just come rolling off the tongue, right? But it does not. It's very difficult for at least me to remember, maybe not everybody. So, man, you get a cool Bagley cover. You can tell right away from her face right here. I like Bagley, and his little Death of Ultimate Spider-Man kind of thing was pretty cool too. I can say that this is not as beautiful as the previous covers, but it's still kind of cool that they have, a guest cover artist coming in. And it's pretty obvious who that's going to be. But anyway, we'll talk about it in a minute. So there's all kinds of crazy crap happening with this stuff at the same time. And this is written by Jonathan Hickman, and the artist is Barry Kitson. Now, I have to say that I'm sure Barry Kitson has some amazing work somewhere, but I really don't think it's in this issue of this book. I looked through it just a second ago, and I'm finding that a lot of the weird expressions on people's faces and how these panels are so full of a bunch of junk that you don't really need to see. There's a lot of stuff that's not great in here. And I'm surprised too, because the story isn't really that interesting in this one either. You get a lot of little bits of the entire story that have to happen to move it forward, but it really, this as a standalone issue, is not good. There's nothing in here that you would pick up and be like, oh wow, this is the beginning of the story, and oh, here's the end of the story, and in the in-between, this is how they got there. No. This issue, I should say, is all about, here's a piece of this part of the story, and here's a piece of this part of the story, and here's another piece. And they don't really connect together or fit together yet, but hold on for it. They're going to connect together in probably another 1 or 2 or 3 issues down the road. So just remember all this stuff for now and keep churning through it. Well, that's great, especially if you're reading it as a trade, but as a single issue, it's not very good at all. And that, coupled with this artwork that I'm really not enjoying, and maybe it's just a personal choice, but it made for kind of a bad issue altogether. I mean, and then in the very end, you get the Inhumans coming back here with Black Bolt, and I really thought Black Bolt was dead. Maybe he's suddenly alive, but I guess all those stories involving the Inhumans leaving and then something happening and Black Bolt dying or whatever and then coming back, all that stuff is kind of convoluted, and not a whole lot of people read it apparently, or at least I didn't read it, and I missed out on a big part of their story. But looks like they're going to be back and going to be normal as always. See, next issue, the return of Black Bolt. I'm a big fan of Jonathan Hickman. I like a lot of what he does with all of these characters in general. But the combination of this artwork that I'm not enjoying, and maybe this specific issue that I'm not enjoying, along with a lot of little pieces of separate stories that don't really go together and don't really move forward very much at all, it's just a bad issue. I think really you could probably skip this issue and go straight to number 6 whenever it comes out and be totally fine. And you wouldn't even really have to know these connections or know that anything in here really happened. It just kind of connected, and then you move forward, right? Or you find out about it later. So it's kind of a waste. The redeeming factor about this book in general, this issue in general, I keep saying book, is that it's only $2.99. So there you go. They didn't really waste a whole lot of money getting those connections. And maybe they did that on purpose. Maybe they saw this as, yes, there's no real value to this issue being alone, but together with everything else, it's going to be worth it in the long run. You're going to be happy that you bought it. So I would say kind of wait for the trade on the story arc. I don't know. I kind of wonder about all the people that jumped on to the FF story after the death of Johnny or whatever at number 1, and now they're at number 5, and they're like, wait, what's all this stuff? Who are all these people? What's all this stuff happening? Because it's all over the place, man. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and give that one a 2 out of 5 because I just didn't really enjoy it. I hate to give an awesome writer like Jonathan Hickman something like a 2 out of 5, but, you know, sometimes that happens. Sometimes it's just the issue. There you go. FF number 5 is a 2 out of 5. If you have any questions or comments for me, go ahead and leave them. I'll get back to you on it. Otherwise, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.